Dine on turtle soup and pick up your Gamera at Big Bad Toy Store at the link in the description down below. Kaiju, Dragon Ball, Pokemon, and more. It's Steven's Toy Reviews. Hello collectors, it's Steven here, and welcome to my review of the SH MonsterArts Gamera 1999. This ferocious design of Gamera has been long awaited by some fans of the SH MonsterArts line, but unfortunately it isn't quite accurate to the source material. And after seeing the final product, well, some folks are a bit worried with this guy, especially when he costs nearly or over $100. Oof, that is a big chunk of change to drop on this guy. So, some of you are worried, and that's what this review is for. So let's take a look to see whether or not he's worth adding into your collection. Let's go ahead and just address the elephant in the room. This Gamera is not screen or suit accurate. First and foremost, we have the head, which does not hold the same shape. The shell, the back of it, no, it is not accurate. Everything looks different compared to the suit, especially the fact that it looks like it's battle damaged. We do have the arms, which are different. Everything on the MonsterArts is different. However, you can't really docket points for that unless you specifically wanted a suit-accurate Gamera 1999. The reason why I say you can't docket points is we have the likes of the MonsterArts Gigan, Space Godzilla, Destroya to a lesser extent, and a couple of others, which fans absolutely love, and they're not screen accurate. So with that in mind, that's okay. What I will docket points for are two issues which are consistent in the SH MonsterArts line, which have been a big issue, at least, since 2014. What are those? The fact that Gamera does in fact have eyes that he kind of looks like he got hit in the head with a shovel with, and the fact of the matter that the bottom set of teeth are completely botched with white paint, so much so it goes over to his jaw, to his skin. Yeah, that's completely unacceptable for the price point. For some reason, Bandai just simply cannot tighten the quality control on this line to nail these finer details. Now, some of you might say that this is, well, nitpicking, but do keep in mind, this is in the $100 price range, and plenty of other lines underneath the Bandai Spirits logo are able to get better paint. Now, let's take a look throughout the rest of the figure where we can see almost perfect, immaculate shading on the claws of Gamera, which completely trump, yep, I said it, the previously released Kiryu Goji release, and you have the previously released Kiryu repaint, which looks much better than the mouth and the eyes of Gamera in every sense of the application. So with that in mind, how did they fail this? Anyway, enough of the bad. Gamera's paint shading on the rest of the body is really stunning. On the plastron of Gamera, we have wonderful sprays of green and different shades of brown, which are, to an extent, breathtaking if you are a fan of immaculate paint jobs. And then we have the actual skin of Gamera, which also features not only a brown spray, but a gray, so this way it really brings out the finer details of the sculpt, which I don't quite know who the sculptor was here. Wakasa did take credit for this particular one on Twitter. I don't know if he was just referring to the suit or this particular figure, but anyway, yeah, looks really, really good. And then, even though it's not accurate, the details on the shell with a nice teal coloration, sort of really, really dark for the actual plastic used, and then nice sprays for some of the raised points on the shell. It just looks great. Overall, aside from the eyes, which, they're not looking the right way, and the teeth, this Gamera looks amazing. For Gamera's articulation, unfortunately, just simply because of the design of the kaiju, he is a large turtle, and this even goes true for something like the Ninja Turtle figure arts. Just because of the simple design, the articulation is a bit limited, and because Bandai made the swappable parts really easy to do for everyone, unfortunately, you're going to have parts which pop off pretty easy, and yeah, that can make for a frustrating figure for some. But what do we have? Because it's pretty all right. Well, we do have the jaw, which is on a ball joint, as you can see here. You can kind of get Gamera to go slack jaw a little bit. It opens and closes relatively wide, which is nice. So you have that. Unfortunately, when you go to close his jaw, you can't get the teeth to touch each other, so yeah, that's okay. Now, it looks like the tongue does have a joint to it at the base, but I can't get that tongue to move, and I don't want to force it and cause Gamera's tongue to break. Now, here's where we get some really cool articulation out of Gamera. The head attaches into the neck on a ball joint, so we can get some great range of movement here. We can get Gamera to look left and right, no problem, up about that far, down about that far, which you're going to say to yourself, that's not a big deal. But the ball joint that attaches here at the neck into the body, we get a fantastic extended range of movement. So this way, Gamera can look in any direction, realistically speaking. You don't have to worry about a foe being too far to the left, too far to the right, too far up, or too far down. Gamera can lock onto pretty much any target. 2 thumbs up. Now, when it comes to the arms, Gamera's shoulders here, where they attach into the shell, they're on a double-axis barbell-style ball joint, as you can see here. Yep, like I said, these things are going to pop off super easy. So you can wiggle Gamera's arms around, twist them and turn them a little bit. We do have a bicep swivel that's there. Get a little bit of movement. We can get Gamera to pull his arms up kind of like that. Straight out. Then we do have the wrist movement for his little handsies. That about sums that up. Now, you see I'm already fiddling with Gamera's arms. Now, for the legs, we do have the hip joints, which, see what I mean? They are on ball joints, so you get a pretty decent range. Unfortunately, not too much movement. See what I mean? It's just fiddly. We do have the knees, ball joint and movement, which allows you, actually, I'm going to show you the whole thing at the end of this segment. Then we have a split here at the lower portion of the leg, the shin calf area, which is also on a ball joint. And then we have ankles, which are ball jointed as well. So if you want, you can push Gamera's leg back and then kind of have his foot flat. You can spread his foot wide for ankle rocker, or you can have his foot out forward and then make it go flat. So you can pose Gamera's legs kind of in a lot of different poses and get him to lean forward, have his legs go wide, come together, put him in a nice walking pose. So yeah, pretty limited there. Oh, by the way, he has a tail with quite a few ball joints. How many do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 at the base. We can have him whip it to the side, whip it to the other side, twist and turn it, and there's even a little cut in the shell to compensate, so this way you can get Gamera to raise and lower his tail. And that's pretty much it. So overall, you're going to have parts pretty much falling off everywhere for this guy, which isn't good. And the range of movement's So if you're creative, you can get a few awesome pictures of Gamera, but you're going to have to be patient and know your stuff. Now for accessories, and when you list them, it's kind of light, but in the reality of things, Gamera comes with quite a bit, which is kind of the reason why the articulation is sort of iffy. Gamera comes with the infamous plasma fist and parts to recreate flying scenes in Gamera 3. Now let's take a closer look at this. First and foremost, we're going to take a look at the plasma fist, which is simply a replacement part for the right arm, which is going to be right at about the elbow area, the bicep area, whatever you want to call it. All you gotta do is pop it off and just plug the new one in. It's 100% identical sculpt-wise, except for the fact that it was cast in translucent plastic, so it's gonna have the same range of movement. And here's a nice little shot of it in the dark with a finger light shining through it, and it really looks cool. Now we're going to take a look at the flight parts for Gamera, and to be honest with you, this is super easy to swap out, which, by the way, these are not accurate either. The wings and everything else of Gamera, they do have a different shape, but it's not really that big of a deal. All you simply have to do, which is what I would recommend doing, is pop off all of the parts of Gamera first, as I'm showing you here, before you proceed to pop any parts on to Gamera. Now, once you have most of the parts popped off, there are two parts on the left and right sides of the shell. These can be pretty difficult to pop off. I would suggest maybe getting a paper clip or, worst case scenario, a knife, so this way you can stick it in there in the gap and go ahead and pop it off. Trust me though, once you do that, it'll be easy to do on subsequent trials. Once you go ahead and do this, you're just going to pop on the two new wing arms for Gamera, and then you have two smaller flippers that go onto the left and the right side of Gamera. Don't worry, you're not really going to be able to mess up which one goes on the left and the right hand side, because the two holes actually have different sculpt marks, and you can't put the left in the right and the right in the left. Unless you force it, at that point you're going to break it. Then all you have to do is just pop in the end piece, and you're pretty much good to go. Now, of course, you need a flight stand, and Bandai did include that infamous flame base that they've been using since the original MonsterArts Godzilla release, and a unique flight stand that doesn't really look all that great. Now, you can sort of use it two ways. One, you can have it so this way Gamera is really taking off, doesn't provide the best support, and that's not the way that Bandai recommends it, but here is the correct way where you sort of move Gamera down, so this way it doesn't really look like he's flying. Now, you can recreate some awesome kind of scenes and make it look like Gamera is flying. I do recommend using some effect parts to really recreate some of those cool scenes from the movie. So this way, maybe he can chase a Gauss or maybe Iris? Come on, Bandai, let's see some stuff. Yeah. Anyway, what I would really recommend is picking up some aftermarket effect parts to really bring out your Gamera display, and if you need some help finding those, you know that I have a video to help you hunt those down. At the end of the day, though, for the price point, objectively on paper, Bandai really didn't include a whole lot here, but in actual execution, Bandai did include a lot. I would have appreciated jet streams for Gamera when he was spinning, but you know what? That's okay. Oh, by the way, the Fire Blast effect part that came with the G2 Gamera doesn't really fit in too well into his mouth. Now we're going to go ahead and wrap up the review here with a nice size comparison with some other figures you just might have in your collection, including at the end of the size comparison, a size comparison with the MonsterArts G2 Gamera and the Sci-Fi Revoltech G1 Gamera. As you can see, this one is quite bulky and will look fantastic on your shelf. So buy now, skip, or wait for a deal. To be honest with you, this Gamera is going to be extremely divisive in the collector community. This Gamera does not have an accurate sculpt, and on the main focal point of the figure, it has two issues with extremely sloppy teeth, which is inexcusable at this point, and the eyes, they're not perfect. However, the rest of the paint applications are great. The articulation is kind of a miss, but the accessories, even though on paper, not a whole lot, but in execution, we get a nice package here. And the price point, some fans are going to love this. I really do enjoy this figure, but I'm already seeing some folks completely dismiss this and calling this one of the worst figures in the line, which I think is a bit extreme. I do think, though, that if you're liking what you're seeing, I would pick this one up sooner rather than later and be pleasantly surprised like I was. Well, folks, that's the end of this review. Thanks for watching, and be sure to follow me on social media to catch more behind-the-scenes shenanigans and updates. The end card should be popping up now with more hand-selected STR goodness for you to watch, so check out some of those videos. Be sure to check the description, too, to see where you can buy this figure or others like it, and some cool links like the credits for this video and other ways you can help out the channel. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch ya in the next video.